Yo, what's up YouTube? I'm back here with another video, and today we're doing something a little different. Today we're going to be talking about Demar Derozan trade rumors, because in today's NBA, Demar Derozan does not fit in the NBA. As we all know, the Spurs are not off to a hot start. They are starting off 5-8, which is the worst start since that's the worst start since having the first overall pick to draft Tim Duncan since the lockout. And DeMar just doesn't fit in San Antonio, if you ask me. What is going on is that DeMar needs the ball in his hand. You got DeJounte also, and DeMar he just doesn't fit in today's NBA because he's not a three-point shooter. And in today's NBA, you need three-point shooters. And for the Spurs out there, yeah, he's a good mid-range shooter. And for the Spurs, when he's on the court, like, he's making them worse. He's a negative 5.3 when he's on the court. And to be honest, I don't see anyone trading for DeMar DeRozan. Like, he's a good player. He's the Spurs' best player this year. He's shooting 50% from the field. He's averaging 19.8 points per game, 5 rebounds and 5 assists. But whenever he's on the court, it's always a negative 5.3, and that's because of his defense. Like, the Spurs, that's their one problem, is their defense. Because if you think about it, the Spurs, they have DeJounte Murray, who's a great defender. They got Derek White, who's a good defender. And all in all, you have young talent around them. Like, you got Brent Ford, DeJounte Murray, Derek White, Lonnie Walker, and then you still got these other two young guys, Keldon Johnson and Lucas Hamnick, who they just drafted, along with Witherspoon too. And then you got DeMar in LA, who just don't fit the Spurs right now. Like, the Spurs are kind of in a rebuilding stage right now, while they had DeMar in LA trying to contend at the same time. To me, I don't see any teams trading for DeMar because, like I said earlier, he's not a good three-point shooter. He's a guy on a team that needs to drive and kick, and he can shoot the mid-range, he can dunk, get layups, but also he doesn't be getting enough calls lately. Like, I've been watching the games because I am a Spurs fan, and the refs just do not be giving him calls. Like, he be going in the contact, and he just does not get any calls whatsoever. But that's not his. That's the refs. Like, he even called the refs out, like, on the Blazers game, so he's probably gonna get a hefty fine. But there's no teams in the West that I honestly see trading for DeMar, if you ask me, because the West is already set. Like, the Lakers, Clippers. You got the Lakers, the Clippers, the Timberwolves. Who else? You got, like, the Nuggets. The one team I could honestly maybe see trading for DeMar would be the Mavericks. You would have a lineup of, like, it would be Brunson, DeMar or Luka, and then DeMar at the 2, Luka at the 3. And then I don't know who the power forward is, like Powell and Kristaps. Again, I don't see that working because DeMar isn't a good three-point shooter, and Luka needs the ball in his hands, just like DeMar needs the ball in his hand. And the rumor also was that the Magic were interested in trading for DeMar, and I just feel like it's the same thing as coming to the Spurs. Like, on the Spurs, you have DeJounte, who needs the ball, and DeMar. And DeJounte's not a good three-point shooter. Like, he's been practicing on his three-point shooter. He's gotten way better, but he's not consistent enough yet to where he could just be shooting like 5 threes a game. And that's the same thing for Orlando, man. You got Markelle Fultz at the point guard, who needs the ball in his hand, who just isn't that good of a three-point shooter yet either. They're all young point guards who needs the ball in their hand. And if you ask me, The rumor was it would be like Aaron Gordon and Mo Bamba for Jakob Poeltl and Demar Derozan. And I just don't see that happening because Gordon is 24, a young player who is hitting his peak as of right now, while Demar is 30 years old on the last year of his deal. I just don't see it happening. Like Mo Bamba, if he's in the deal, yeah, because he's like their third string center right now. It goes like Vucevic, Kim Birch, I think that's his name, and then Mo Bamba. But all in all, DeMar in Orlando would be like Fultz, Fournier, DeMar, then like what, Al-Farouq Aminu and Vucevic. I mean, that's kind of like what it is here in San Antonio. It's like the same thing. LA and Vucevic are like the same player, both post-up players. And then you got Lyles and Aminu, who are like kind of stretch bigs for their perspectives. And then you got Fultz and Murray, who are the same, and then Forbes and Fournier are the same. So it's just pretty much the same thing in San Antonio. I just really don't see DeMar fitting in Orlando. I don't see anyone trading for him for the fact that he's on the last year of his deal, like we're saying. And then you got the rest of the East teams, like the Sixers wouldn't trade for him. Then you got like, who else? The Celtics wouldn't. The Raptors. He could go back to Toronto, but I don't think they need him. And then you got my mind's kind of going blank right now. You got all these East teams in the playoffs that I don't see trade for him. Not even like the Nets aren't even in the playoffs right now. I don't see them trading for him. The Wizards have no need for him. DeMar's a good player. There's just, he doesn't fit in today's NBA. If he was a good three-point shooter, a lot of teams would want him, but that's just not his role. He's a driving kick kind of guy, shoot the mid-range here and there, and he's just gonna cost a lot of teams for what they're doing, because a lot of teams want one guy that could drive and kick to the threes, and that's mostly everyone's team. Because like I said, DeMar is averaging 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists off 50% shooting this year. He's the Spurs' best player. But when he's out there, he's just killing the Spurs. Like, the Spurs are 7th in offense, but then their defense is just atrocious. Besides from DeJounte and Derek, no one plays defense on the Spurs. And this is DeMar's worst free throw shooting percentage since his rookie year. He's shooting 79% from the free throw line, and that's just terrible, man. So all in all, I do want the Spurs to trade DeMar, but I don't think we'll get what we're expecting to get for him. I see them getting like maybe some role players at the most, some young players like I said, Mo Bamba, and like maybe Al-Farouq Aminu or something. The Aaron Gordon is just a wishful thinking, man. I just don't see it. Aaron Gordon is 24, young and could build around for years, and DeMar's 30, like out of his prime almost. So I just don't see it, man. I wish we could get something for DeMar, but I think we're just gonna let DeMar ride out his contract here in San Antonio, and he'll leave in the offseason.